Reading the script for my episode, this most daunting thing was the frozen lake sequence, which is big and really hard to shoot.
It's a massive amount of fighting and stunts and special effects.
The zombie polar bear may be more difficult than doing dragons.
2, 1, action!
You go like, is this even possible to shoot?
Go, go!
Dan and David wrote the scenes for 6. I think it was really fun for them to have all these crazy killers together on this mission.
But we all die.
The enemy always wins, and we still need to fight him.
Most of the heavy lifting of the sequence, the Army of the Dead on the frozen lake, that was all in Wolf Hill Quarry in Belfast.
This episode is probably the most contained of all the episodes this season in terms of most of it takes place beyond the wall. And that was shot, with the big exception of the frozen lake, that was shot in Iceland.
There's not a living woman within 100 miles of here.
We have to make do with what we've got.
And we cut. Okay.
Iceland. It's the lead up to Frozen Lake, and hopefully it's what sets the world for the Frozen Lake, so you sort of believe the Frozen Lake takes place in that world.
No matter how great your visual effects are, or your art department and everything, there's just nothing quite like the real thing if you can find it.
Here we go then, everybody shoot!
This is going to make the episode, I think, these locations.
Well, it's very challenging to shoot in Iceland. Everybody has to pitch in.
Never been north before?
Never seen snow before.
Beautiful, eh?
Where in winter it's a completely unforgiving environment. You have 4 hours of light. You scout a location, you go back later and there's 4 feet of snow, so you can't put a dolly track anywhere.
Same order, same action, just put before dialogue.
There's a sort of kick-bollock scrambleness to filming out here where you have such limited daylight and you have conditions which are like this or worse.
Right, Delta, take one!
Not a shock to the system. They all knew it was going to be cold, but the wind the last 2 days was extreme.
This is what we should be doing, really.
And it can push you around and it wears you out, and you've got heavy, thick clothing on that keeps you warm, but it's tricky to move.
You know, it's in the hands of the gods when you come out and film somewhere like this.
The beginning of episode 6, there's a lot of establishing the relationships between the group on the hunting party.
Your father wanted to execute me, you know.
And then on to more serious business of getting hold of a white, or indeed, hopefully not getting killed.
Well, we have a big scene with a polar bear.
So you're in a blizzard, your visibility is 10 feet, and you've got something that's out there that you don't know where it's going to come from. It's very much like a shark attack.
We felt like a real collaboration in building that sequence. It was the script, it was VFX, and it was my ideas, and it was also I worked with a wonderful storyboard artist, made the scene richer.
It's a big CGI polar bear. We did it in a big CGI box. And they said to us at the start, this is going to be quite confusing because you won't have any sense of direction. And it was a bit weird.
So the polar bear fight was a real challenge because obviously we don't have a zombie polar bear. I have got a big guy in a green suit.
I've had people going, oh, when I'll come towards you, I'm a bear. No, you're not. Your name's Toby. It's pretty weird, to be honest.
And it was clear there was going to be quite a bit of wire work. And 3, 2, 1, action! Stop!
It throws them around, it smacks them all over, it's huge, and their regular weapons can't kill it. So it's not until Jorah comes up with his the dragon glass dagger.
Action!
Like the smallest weapon they've been trying to use against him, but the dragon glass deanimates it.
I just got bit by a dead bear.
You did.
Funny old life.
Frozen Lake sequence is so ambitious that I don't think any of us really understood what we were getting ourselves into.
They said, so here's what we're thinking. And they sent me pictures of a quarry with nutmen. And I thought, really? Okay, what else you got? And and then slowly, every time I came back, we were doing more work, and we were sort of, positioning where the island would go and where the Night King would hang out. And the difference was amazing.
As soon as I read it, I knew I needed to do it in a quarry because it has to have a flat surface, Ice forms in flat pools, it doesn't have a hill. We had to do a lot of work on it to make it like an ice lake.
The scale of it is enormous.
We concreted the entire quarry floor.
They levelled the quarry and started pouring what I think Tom Martin told me ended up being about 11,000 square feet of concrete just to get the frozen lake element of it alone.
So we've sort of built the biggest car park in Northern Ireland, really, with an island in the middle of it.
We built the island in the middle like we would build a set. All of the formwork was put in, finished by the plasterers the way that a set would usually be finished. And then you can't talk about that set without acknowledging the snow team.
I believe it's the biggest snow set ever. Could be a Guinness Book of Records. 36,000 square metres of snow.
3, 2, 1, action!
We built some walls to take us from Iceland into this lake to sort of make believe that we were in the same environment.
Stop!
By far the most effort, expense, time, agony is going into the frozen lake, because that's where most of the action and dragon stuff happens.
The idea of having our heroes trapped basically on a life raft, surrounded by enemies, and if you wander off it, you're dead, and if you stay too long, you're probably gonna die because, you're gonna starve or freeze to death. That was interesting to us.
I've been waiting for the end for a long time. Maybe the Lord brought me here to find it.
Getting Alan Taylor was a big thing because Alan's so good with this stuff. He's such a talented director, but he's got such a great eye for creating tension and disturbing shots.
I had looked back at some triumphs from previous seasons, like Battle of the Bastards is one of the best things ever achieved in, television, maybe cinema. And it's partly because the storytelling is so clear through a chaotic battle. Our scene is smaller, it's like 6 guys on a rock, but there's just as much chaos because whites are involved and they tend, crazy zombies that tends to devolve into chaos immediately.
Oh, fuck.
And so trying to focus the story so you understood the terms of the battle was the main challenge.
You come up here. I call it a fight mode. When you're in the middle of a fight, you need to have all your adrenaline on a maximum. Too dry? And when you have whites attacking you from all sides, you're on a super maximum.
Ability, you've got to loosen up, you've got to be ready for a fight.
And it needs some screaming, you need some hitting the axe.
Even the extras are so into it.
Okay, here we go then. Let's start bringing on action!
This one is our lead characters trying to keep hold of the captured white, and they drag him up this hill. So we basically end up going from character to character, hero moments where someone gets in trouble, another hero saves them.
Action!
And eventually, Kit gets to the very top, and there's a red shirt, which is one of my stunt guys, being attacked by a white, and Kit kills the white, but it's just that half a second too late because he just gets to the edge as the red shirt falls off of the cliff into all of the whites. And it's about a 10-foot drop, but it's all stunties down there who catch the guy and envelop the guy at the same time, so it looks like he's being fought by all of the whites.
At that point, it's a matter of time before we're dead. unless Daenerys shows up.
Come guys to your first position.
And she does arrive just in the nick of time, which is, you just have to. There's no other way that this scene could be written.
One of the main dramatic events of this is, of course, the dragons coming to the rescue, and they're north of the wall, and so you get the direct, explosion of fire against ice, which is the central sort of motif of this whole story saga.
This is like a cutting torch, going into a piece of ice. Imagine if you dump water into a blazing hot pot, it explodes. So that's the effect of the fire on the ice lake.
So when we shoot it, we use, airplane landing lights, make them look like firelight. We also do some explosions to set a kind of reference for what fire would actually look like.
Rolling. Action.
If you kill a person on screen, it's bad. If you kill a puppy, you're really dealing with emotional stuff. And I think the dragons are beloved. I mean, we also think they're invincible, so it's a shattering moment when it happens. We're trying to shoot it in a way where we serve that. No, it's one of those great story moments where you don't see it coming, I don't think, and then when it happens, it's like, oh, of course, it always had to happen. It makes perfect sense.
Losing one of her dragons, I think, not only is it her power, but the emotion of losing a child on top of that. It is everything that you know her for in one moment, taken.
Go now! Leave!
And then working out, of course, when the ice breaks, what are you going to do then? Because obviously then the quarry stops being useful.
So if we can now go back to our first position then, please.
And then they got one day man being dumped in a tank of water for a whole day. Which I was laughing at Alfie Allen because he had to do that, and I was literally on set laughing at him until someone came up to me and said, "You've got to do that in January."
So open water, broken ice is a challenge for visual effects, special effects, to make look real in a quarry that can't do either.
I think back now, and there was not a script when I spoke to David and Dan the first time about coming back to this season, but they told me the story. And then when they told me, the details of the final scene.
And this was always the episode that was, in some ways, we're most excited about and also the most nervous about, because so much of it is dependent on those, that final set piece actually working.
3, 2, 1, action.
The eyes of the White Walkers and the Whites have been such a prominent feature of the show, and a lot of work has gone into the specifics of how the eyes look, and to see that hopefully iconic image at this point blown up to the size of, a beach ball, that seemed like it was a crowd-pleasingly oh shit moment.
There was that same feeling I hope everybody else has when they watch it, which is like, no, oh cool, what's gonna happen next?